Caribbean Home Veggies.
Hello and welcome to Caribbean Home Veggies. Today we are going to be doing seedling planters. And no, relax, we have not had the invasion of the body snatchers. This is not Sheldon, this is Wanda with you today. So what and why are we doing seedling planters? Generally on Caribbean Home Veggies, we tend to do recycling. Things that we get from the supermarket, we recycle into the garden. For example, we have a milk carton that we would use as a seedling planter. We have juice containers. We have this green thing that you sometimes get other stuff in from the supermarket as well. And we generally use these as seedling planters. We also use egg cartons. Here is an egg carton that actually has seedlings in it already. Aren't they so cute? Anyway, so we use these things as seedling planters. But then you can only eat so many eggs and drink that much juice and that much milk before you run out of seedling planters. So we have to make our own. Checked online, looking for something that was biodegradable, looking for something that was cost effective, because like we said, we're recycling. Most of the things that I saw had to do with making seedling pots from newspapers. Great, but the problem was very small. So no planters. What we saw were, reaching for the exhibit, basically using a can or any round object. You could make a seedling pot like this or smaller depending on the size of your can. Then there was another site that was, really cute square little seedling pots that you can make using newspapers as well. So pots, not planters. Didn't find any planters. So decided we need to go bigger. So I decided to make my own way. First try, not so great. Second try, a little better, but still a little flimsy, still not as deep as I would want for a planter. So I'm not going to show you how to make these two because really and truly they're not going to help you. What we finally came up with, I finally came up with were these babies that you could make with either one sheet of newspaper or two. Two I found was a bit more sturdy. One was still a little flimsy, but I'm going to show you how to make them and you can decide which way you want to do it, whether with one sheet or two sheets of newspaper. What are you going to need? Of course, we are going to need newspaper. Newspaper lying around the house, stuff that you buy all the time, and a lot of times we tend to throw away. Beside the newspaper, we're also going to need a pair of scissors. Thank you. A pair of scissors. You may decide to use either a glue stick. See how these things are magically appearing? A glue stick, or you could use tape, or you could use staples, all right, to put your product together. Whichever way you decide is basically for your convenience. If you want to go totally biodegradable, you might want to stick to maybe your glue or your biodegradable tape. So you're going to start with your newspaper. So you take your newspaper. I prefer to do it with two sheets rather than one because I find it's a lot more sturdy. And here we go. And voila, we have our seedling planter. Okay, so here you can put your soil in and then you can plant your seeds and use this as your very own and homemade seedling planter. Now, in terms of modification, you can decide how far you fold in order to get a shorter length versus how far this way to get an increased or less depth. That's up to you. The nutritional benefits of our paper seedling planter, of course, would depend on what you put in it. Nothing on its own. So that is what we've done today, our seedling planters. Show you one with soil in it so you can actually see what the end result is like. With two things to mention. One, remember we turn the staples on the inside because of course for safety's sake you'd want the flat part on the outside. And secondly, when you're wetting, try not to do too much wetting. You don't want to soak your planter. You just want enough water in for your seedlings to benefit, but remember it is paper, so you don't want to soak it too much for it to be, as useful as possible for you. One of the advantages of the planter as well is that you can plant it directly into the soil after your seeds have sprouted. So if you have your seeds already at the desired distance and all of that you want them to be, you can just take your planter, dig a hole, put your planter with your seeds and cover it up because it's biodegradable. Of course, not the staples, so you might want to use another method if you're concerned about the staples. Okay, so here we have one of our planters. It has soil in it and it's also been wet. So you have to be very careful when you're wetting. You do not want to wet it too much, all right? The other thing is that depending on the size and length of your planter, this may happen. You lift it up at the sides and the middle tends to be a bit more flimsy because it now has soil and it's wet. So options, you could use thread, you could use twine, you could use string, you could use tape, whatever, and basically just to hold the middle together, right, if it is that you do have to transport your planter. You'll find, of course, it's a lot more stable if you use a shorter method than the very long ones. So I hope that you have lots of fun with your seedling planter, and as I said, you could modify it, you could do whatever you wish, and send us pictures. So thank you so much for watching Caribbean Home Veggies, and hope you come back and see us again soon. We're on social media, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. And you should be able to see this video as well just about anywhere else. And we will see you when you get back. Thank you for subscribing.